Netaji Subhas Chandra is a name which will always stay immortal for Indians. Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, considered the most revered freedom fighter of India, was born on January 23rd, 1879, in Cuttack. His famous slogan, "Give me blood and I will give you freedom," has continued to inspire many even today. When Subhash Chandra started schooling, he came out brilliant and scored top ranks throughout his study in school and university. He completed his BA in philosophy with a first class score in 1918. He was strongly influenced by Swami Vivekananda's teachings and was known for his patriotic zeal as a student. He also adored Vivekananda as his spiritual guru. Subhash Chandra Bose's father wanted him to become a civil servant and therefore sent him to England to appear for the Indian Civil Service examination. Bose was placed fourth with highest marks in English, but his urge for participating in the freedom movement was intense, so intense that in April 1921, Bose resigned from the coveted Indian Civil Service and came back to India. At the point when he arrived at Calcutta, presently Kolkata, he committed himself to the cause of national independence. He found that the non-cooperation movement under the authority of Mahatma Gandhi was dynamic all around the country. Subhash would not acknowledge the task given by the British government and devoted himself at the call of his homeland. The penance and commitment of Chittaranjan Das for the nation promptly pulled in his brain. He acknowledged Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das as his political preceptor and turned into his lieutenant. Around then, Chittaranjan Das was running a paper called Forward. Accepting the proposition of Chittaranjan Das, he turned into an editorial manager of the paper. In 1924, he became the mayor of Calcutta. Subhash Chandra Bose was imprisoned several times along with Chittaranjan Das, who died after his release in 1925. Subhash then, at that point, turned out to be such a pioneer that he was generally feared by the British government. He preached for taking direct action against the foreign rulers to attain complete independence. In 1938, Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose turned into the President of Indian National Congress. He was extremely well known that he was again chosen as the President in 1939, regardless of the resistance. It is accepted that he had contrasts in assessment with other Congress pioneers. He later left the post. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was against providing any sort of help to the British during the Second World War. He cautioned them so. The subsequent World War broke out in September of 1939, and similarly, as anticipated by Bose, India was announced as a fighting state for the benefit of the British by the Governor General without speaking with Indian pioneers. He now started a mass movement against utilizing Indian resources and men for the Great War. To him, it made no sense to further bleed poor Indians for the sake of colonial and imperial nations. There was a tremendous response to this call, and the British promptly imprisoned him. He took to a hunger strike, and after his health deteriorated on the 11th day of fasting, he was freed and was placed under house arrest. The British could do nothing except locking him in the prison. It was in 1941 that Subhash Chandra Bose suddenly disappeared. The authorities did not know for how many days he was not in his barrack, the house in which he was being guarded. He travelled by foot, car and train and resurfaced in Kabul, now in Afghanistan, only to disappear once again. In November 1941, His broadcast from German radio sent shock waves among the British and electrified the Indian masses who realized that their leader was working on a master plan to free their motherland. It also gave fresh confidence to the revolutionaries in India who were challenging the British in many ways. He was warmly received in Japan and was declared the head of the Indian Army, which consisted of about 40,000 soldiers from Singapore and other eastern regions. These soldiers were united by another great revolutionary, Rashbihari Bose. Rashbihari handed over them to Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose called it the Indian National Army, INA, and a government by the name Azad Hind Government was declared on the 21st of October 1943. INA freed the Andaman and Nicobar Islands from the British and were renamed as Swaraj and Shahid Islands. The government started functioning. With the defeat of Japan, however, Bose's fortunes ended. A few days after Japan announced surrender in August 1945, Bose, fleeing Southeast Asia, reportedly died in a Japanese hospital in Taiwan as a result of burn injuries from a plane crash. The role that Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose played in India's struggle for the independence has been much discussed, and he is considered as an important figure in the Indian freedom struggle. Netaji had thought of everything, including the importance of India's foreign relations. He talked of developing international contacts by Indian cultural organizations and by Indian chambers of commerce to raise India's profile across the globe. He emphasized that free India would be a positive force in the world. The problems that he wanted to be addressed so many decades ago remain with us till today. We are still faced with extreme poverty, illiteracy, and disease. To give proper respect to Netaji, we want to recommit ourselves to solving these challenges.